my channel. I'm not doing a tutorial so much today as sharing how I color. I'm no expert in Prismacolor pencil crayons and have only recently started using them more often. But let's get on with it and hopefully you'll be able to pick up a thing or two. I'm starting off with my burnt ochre and coloring around her face where I think shadows might be. This is going to depend on your light source, but that's something that I'm still working on myself, so I can't really teach that part. My next color is peach, and this I'm covering the burnt ochre but extending it out further a bit. On the first layer, I'm coloring really lightly as I use a paper that has very little tooth, so if I'm not careful, I can flatten out the tooth rather quickly and have nothing left to be able to push the color around with. My next layer is light peach, and this color I use to go over everything, covering it up so that I have no white space left. Now I'm going for the scary color. It's very dark and I feel like it's easy to mess up, but it's not that easy. The nice thing about pencil crayons, just erase it and start over. So at this point, I'm starting my second layer, but I'm just going to edge her face with chocolate, enough to just get a shadow down. You can start with this color on your first layer, but I didn't because I just wasn't brave enough yet. Next, my burnt ochre, covering the chocolate and extending it out further. Now I'll bring in my peach and work that pencil in circles, extending that peach out just a little further past what you just previously laid down. When you're doing the circles, it makes it so much easier to blend the next color, very similar to Copic coloring. Lots of what you learn from one medium will overlap to the next, so that's incredibly helpful. Now we're with the light peach. This is my last layer, so with that chocolate around her hairline, you can put a bit more pressure down so you can flatten the tooth, but not so much where your colors meet. That will make it easier to blend. Next is burnt ochre, and I'm just blending a little further towards the center of her face or towards the highlight. Again, this is quite similar to Copics where you use 3 or 4 colors to build your actual color in each piece of your image. Now I'm shading in some pink circles for the cheeks, then carefully blending it out with the Deco Pink. And here we are with my last peach layer. Again, coloring towards the center of the face. And then we're going to do an overall blend of light peach to finish that part of it off. I didn't put any chocolate color around the bottom of her face as more of the sun would be hitting that area, so it wouldn't be as dark as where her hairline is. I know a lot of this information is repetitive, but that's really all what the process is. Layering, layering, and more layering. Notice I just used the Kitten Clouder's feather duster to feather away all of the little bits from my pencils. I just love that thing, and it's really important to try and make sure that you don't have any shavings or pieces that break off from your pencil crayon onto your image. As you can see here, I've taken the peach and the light peach and covered up her cheeks. That's okay because we're going to go back in and define them a little bit more with some of the pink and deco pink. I wanted her cheeks quite pink, so I went over them a few times. She's outside, so it only makes sense that her cheeks are a little bit more rosy. This is all just a matter of preference, and you could even use a different shade. Maybe you don't have the same pencils as I do, but given how many blushes there are out there, I'll bet you have a few different colors you could pull out for this. The last thing I do is cover most of her face with white, focusing more on the center and getting softer towards the edges, but that's something you can play with. It also helps flatten any tooth that's left. You could also try a blender pencil or a stub. And that's her face. I'll be doing more videos on other areas of this image, and by the time I'm done, I'm hoping to have a complete set of videos that finishes the image right off. Thanks for staying tuned. I hope you've enjoyed today's coloring.